Sheikh Mateen Charbonneau. He's with us today to speak to us about his journey into Shi'ism and to tell us his background a little bit on how he came to the religion of Islam and to Shi'ism. Let us welcome Sheikh Mateen Charbonneau with Allah salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
Now, Sheikh Mateen, let's get a little bit of background on how you were and what guided you into being Muslim and what guided you into becoming a Shi'i.
Okay, inshallah. So say it. I'll talk a little bit. If you want to stop me to translate, you just let me know, okay? Because I get going and then, you know what I mean?
I'll pause you.
Yeah, just...
Like
The Sayyid is our linguist over here. He's our translator and interpreter.
Inshallah. So I'll see which point. I'll give a brief.
Okay.
If you give me a brief of your background, then I'll give a brief in Arabic, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. So, I'm originally American. I'm not from any Middle Eastern background. My family is Christian. They're still Christian. My father's side's from Canada, from the French part. So I'm French Canadian. My mother's side, if you go far back enough, generations, some long time ago, it's probably from UK, this UK region. Okay. Okay, so I didn't always look like this, you know, our mama and, you know, Abba and all this. So I grew up here in the States. I'm from South Carolina, so I lived most of my life there. But when I was younger, I was trying to find my way, so I was very lost. My parents divorced early, so my father wasn't around for some time. Now we're very close, but at that time, you know, I was trying to find my way. So circumstances, you come from a split household, mother has to try to figure out how to provide. I ended up in really rough neighborhood, you know, very bad. I mean, they don't even deliver the pizza over there because one of the pizza delivery drivers came, they killed him, threw him in the garbage, you know. My city was a small city, but it had the number 8 murder rate in the country in the late 90s. So it was very dangerous. So I grew up in these, what we call projects, you know, the housing, apartments, very low income and this. So when I would go outside, I would see a lot of things that I thought was normal, but it really wasn't normal, you know, drugs, guns, all of these things. So I grew up in this, all these gangs, and all the neighborhoods had different gangs. So I was young, didn't have any guidance. I looked to the older people, a few years older than me. I got wrapped up in all of this. So I was doing all sort of things. And then eventually, you know, this landed me in a lifetime of trouble. I would always end up going to, for example, juvenile detention. So when I was 12 years old, I went into a juvenile detention. So I spent my 13th birthday there, 14th birthday there. 15th birthday, probation. By the time I'm 16, I had altercations. Some people tried to kill me. I tried to stop them. They wanted to still come, so I defended myself. I shot one of the guys, like here, and very close, like from me to you. You know, they had 100 or so people with baseball bats and bottles and all sort of things. So, you know, I had to defend myself. But then when I went to the court, I was 16 years old. They held me till I was 17, said, we're going to try you as an adult. So, you know, whatever I have to do, you know, whatever comes my way. So I went to the court. They said, you're not supposed to have a gun under age 21. I said, but they were going to kill me. I wouldn't even be here if I didn't have that gun. They said, yeah, that's true, but you're not allowed to have a gun under 21. You shouldn't have had it. Bam, 10 years, you know.
Let me stop you there, Sheikh Mateen. Sayyid Muntadar, if you can just briefly translate to our brothers who need help with understanding what Sheikh Mateen is talking about.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Ya Allah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
خلاصة ما ذكره أخي العزيز الشيخ متين هو أنه في بداية أو في مطلع شبابه عندما كان في سن 12 طبعا هو نشأ في بيت أبواه تطلقا منذ يعني فترة، خلينا نقول مثلا انفصل قبل وصوله إلى سن 13، فنشأ بين أبوين منفصلين ونشأ في بيئة صعبة وبيئة كانت تكثر فيها الجريمة. يقول لم يكن هنالك من يدله أو يرشده إلى الطريق، فبالتالي انخرط في أجواء العصابات وما إلى ذلك، فسجن أكثر من مرة في بداية مراهقته، وإلى أن وصل إلى عمر 16 حيث اجتمع مجموعة من الناس من عصابة أرادت قتله، فدفاعا عن نفسه أطلق النار على أحدهم، وبعد ذلك أخذ إلى المحكمة وحكم was it 9 or 10 years 10 حكم لمدة 10 سنوات قضاها في السجن. هذا خلاصة الأمر، يعني من 98 إلى 2007 هو في السجن.
So once I went to the prison, I got the 10 years. They sent me to a holding facility, you know. And even before this, before I got my 10 years, I started thinking, before I went to court, I said, you know, maybe I'm going to get a lot of time, maybe I don't, but I need to figure out what I want to do with my life. Because if I keep going like that, then I'm going to either end up dead or in jail for the rest of my life. So I said, I need to change. So I started trying to, I didn't know about Islam because I was in a smaller city, no Muslims around. I don't remember any masjid growing up, any Muslims, no one. We just had black and white. That's it. No other groups of people. So I started to read the Bible in the jail. I said, okay, my family's Christian. Let me see what that's about. I believe in Allah, but I don't really know too much about this stuff. So I started reading the Bible. I started understanding their aqidah or whatever. Then I get to a part, it says something totally different than the other part. So I said, okay, wait a minute, something's not right. I start flipping back and forth. So the priest comes to the jail. I ask him all the questions. He said, don't, ask any questions, just believe. I said, that doesn't sit right with me, you know. Allah gave us intellect, aql, we need to use it. Like, why? I had a lot of questions. So I said, okay. Through the next pod over in the jail, I saw someone, they were making salat, but I didn't know what that was. So I said, what is he doing, you know? They said, oh, he's praying. I said, pray? I never seen a prayer like that. And they said, oh, he's Muslim. I said, what is that? So they said, oh, it's a different religion, came after Christianity, and they have a book called Quran. So I called the guy, I asked him, I said, let me see the Quran. So he showed me through the window, but I couldn't see it. But now I have an idea that there's a Quran, something else to look for. So I told my roommate about it. I said, oh, wow, I found out about these Muslims. And he said, you know what? I'm Muslim too. And I said, really? And I said, tell me about it. And he said, oh, they pray 5 times a day and they don't eat pork and they fast. It's a very simple stuff. I said, wait a minute. You don't pray 5 times a day, Like this guy, he's a sleeper. He said, oh, I pray while I'm laying down. I was like, oh, man, get out of here,
I'll stop you there, Sheikh Mateen. Sayyid Muntadhar, if you would like to give us a brief translation.
نعم، وصل إلى السجن، وفي السجن قرر أن يغير حياته، قرر أن يبحث عن شيء يخلصه من هذا المصير الذي أوصل نفسه إليه. فبدأ يقرأ في البايبل، ما يعرف بالكتاب المقدس عندهم أو الإنجيل، وبدأ يقرأ في هذا الكتاب لأنه ينحدر من أسرة مسيحية، فقرر أن يقرأ لعله يجد الهدى في هذا الكتاب ويغير حياته من خلاله. يقول صرت أقرأ في صفحات هذا الكتاب، ولكن لاحظت التناقضات الكثيرة، يعني أقرأ في صفحة ثم أقرأ في صفحة بعدها أجد أشياء غير منسجمة متناقضة. فبدأت أن أحضر أسئلة، فجاء القس إلى السجن، كان يزورهم القس، فسأله عن هذه الأشياء، فأجابه أنه هذه الأمور لا تسأل عنها، أنت تؤمن فقط. قل أنا هذا لم أقتنع به، كيف أؤمن هكذا؟ فبعد ذلك قال رأيت شخصا في القسم الثاني يصلي، سألت ما هذا؟ قالوا هذا مسلم. قلت ما يعني إسلام؟ يعني لم يسمع هو بالإسلام من قبل. فقيل له أن الإسلام هو دين جاء بعد دين المسيحية وإلى آخره. فبدأ يسأل صاحبه الذي كان معه عن ذلك، فقال له هو أيضا مسلم هذا الشخص. فمن هنا انطلق في التعرف على الإسلام. نعم.
Okay, so from this point, they gave me the 10 years. Then I went to a place, they hold you and they find out where they want to put you at. So I was there, and they were coming around with the book cart, and I said, I want to read the Quran. And the guy's like, he was scared. He wasn't Muslim. He's like, I can't give you the Quran. Muslims don't like you reading the Quran if you don't have Tahara and all this other stuff. And I can get in trouble by the Muslims if I give you the Quran. I said, man, I won't say anything. Just give it to me. It's okay, 15 minutes. I'm coming back to get it. And don't tell anybody I gave it to you, you know? So I said, they respect the Quran a lot. So he gave it to me. I looked up all the verses about Isa and Maryam and all this stuff. I was like, I really like what I'm reading. So I gave it back to him. Then they moved me to another place, waiting, you know? So South Carolina is very hot. Like now it's like in 60s here, 60, maybe 70. But I looked on the weather because I'm going to see my father. It's already close to 100 degrees. Very hot, humid. This prison has no air conditioning and it's concrete. So you see the wavy lines on the inside of the building. It's very hot. So my roommate is an African American guy. So he stands up in the room and goes to the sink and he starts washing his face and washing his arms. And I said, man, this guy must be really hot, you know? And I didn't know what he's doing. I've seen Salat, but I don't know about wudu. So the guy gets in the middle of the floor and he goes, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. I was like, whoa, you know? I grew up with black people my whole life, but I've never seen anybody do this. I was like, what is he doing? Then he didn't say anything. He just stood on the floor and, you know, Allahu Akbar. And I said, oh, okay, he's Muslim. So after he finished, I said, oh, you're Muslim, right? He said, yes. I said, I have a lot of questions. So I asked him all the questions that I asked the priest, and the priest couldn't answer. And this was just a regular guy, you know, but he answered all my questions, like with convincing arguments. And I said, you know, I want to be a Muslim at this point. So I said, teach me about Islam. I want to be a Muslim. So he told me, I'm going to teach you your salat before you take shahadatain, because for them they have a kind of a wrong idea, but they do it for a reason. They said once you become Muslim, the salat is wajib. So if you don't know salat, then you're going to miss a lot of them, you know. So learn your salat and then take shahadatain. So I started learning my Fatiha, and then they moved me somewhere else.
Let me stop you there, Sheikh. A brief question: when you met the Muslim, did you come directly into the Shia sect, or were you Sunni first and then became Shia?
I'll get to it.
You
Give me a minute.
Okay. So, Said, if you want to translate, they get you batteries. Okay.
بعد أن نقل إلى مكان آخر في السجن، كان يرغب في قراءة القرآن، فجيء ببعض الكتب وكان من ضمنها القرآن، فطلب نسخة، فقيل له أنت غير مسلم، وهذه النسخة المسلمين لن يقبلوا إذا وضعت بين يديك لأن أنت لست على طهارة إلى آخره. فألح على الشخص أن يعطيه القرآن ليقرأ قليلا ثم يرجعه إليه، وبالفعل كان ذلك. فيقول أعجبت بما قرأت عن عيسى عن مريم سلام الله عليها وهكذا. ثم بعد ذلك نقل إلى مكان آخر والتقى بشخص أيضا كان يبدو مسلم، ورآه يغسل يديه. تصور أنه يغسل وجهه ويديه لأن الجو حار، لكن تبين أنه يتوضأ. وبعد ذلك رآه يؤذن ويكبر، فسأله عن الإسلام، أجابه عن أسئلته وكانت مقنعة، فطلب منه أن يعتنق الإسلام. قال له قبل أن أعلمك الشهادتين لا بد من أن أعلمك الصلاة، حتى بعد ذلك تكون أنت مهيئ لإقامة وأداء الصلاة.
So this time I'm still like 17 years old. So then they moved me to the prison I'm supposed to go to. So they sent me to, I did my first 5 years in maximum security prison. And when you go there, you look for the people from your town, you know, because you got people from all over the state. So I said, let me find someone from my city. At least maybe we're from same neighborhood, or we know like same people or something like that. So the one guy that was in my dorm that was from my city happened to also be a Muslim. So I was like, everything just lined up, you know. So I told him, "Hey man, you're Muslim too. I learned my Fatiha. I want to like continue. Can you finish teaching me my Salat?" So he finished teaching me my Salat, and he gave me my Shahadatain back in it's like July 1999. So I've been Muslim since that time. So happened that the prison I was in, all of the people there, it was maybe a little bit more than the people in this room. You know, we had a community, but 90 or 95% of them were all Shia. And they were all Americans. They learned from books, and they became Shia through reading books like the Tijani. Then I was guided, these type of books, Maraja'at, Peshawar Nights, all of this stuff. So they were all Shia. So even if someone would come, a Sunni, and they would say like Ameen and Fatiha, it would be very awkward. They wouldn't do it, you know. So I was in the dorm, and the guys came to me and said, "Are you Sunni or are you Shia?" I said, "I don't know what that is, you know. I only know Islam at this point, you know. What's that?" They said, "Just say you're Sunni." And I was like, "Wait a minute, you know, what's that?" And they said, "Don't talk to the Imam Jama'ah about this, you know. Don't talk to him." So, you know, you tell someone young, don't do something, you know, they don't touch the stove. You go, oh, like that, you know. If you tell them, you know, do it, maybe they're not going to do it. You know what I mean? So I went to the Imam Jama'ah. They told me, don't talk to you. And he started laughing. And I said, "What's this Sunni Shia business stuff?" And he said, "Okay, you don't have to talk to me, but I'm going to give you a book, and you read it, and then come back if you have any questions." So he gave me the book, Then I Was Guided, Thumma Hadait, and I read this book, and after that, it just opened my mind completely.
I'll pause you there, Sheikh Mateen. Sayyid Muntadhar, if you want to translate. You're doing a great job, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. طبعا سماحة الشيخ يقول عند ذلك انتقل من سجن أيضا إلى آخر، يعني هو لم يكمل الصلاة بعد، تعلم الفاتحة وبعد ذلك جاء القرار بنقله إلى سجن آخر. كل ما ينقل هو من مكان إلى آخر لابد يتعرف من جديد على شخص آخر. فيقول بحثت عن أناس من منطقتي في ذلك السجن، لأن هذا السجن يعرف بسجن ذو الحراسة المشددة، بقي فيه 5 سنوات. فوجدت شخصا من مدينتي من كارولاينا، ساوث كارولاينا، وتبين أنه أيضا مسلم. وسألته، قلت أنا بدأت أتعلم الإسلام لكن لم أتقن الصلاة بعد، تعلمت فقط الفاتحة، فأريد منك أن تعلمني بقية الصلاة. فعلمه، ثم بعد ذلك تشهد الشهادتين في شهر تموز 1999، وأصبح منذ حينها مسلما. وبعد ذلك يقول كان هنالك مجموعة كبيرة من الناس، بعد ذلك عرف أن 95% منهم شيعة. فجاءني، قال أحد النزلاء في السجن وقال لي أنت شيعي أم سني؟ ففاجأني بالسؤال، لأني لم أكن أعرف ما هو الشيعي وما هو السني، باعتبار أنا جديد لا أعرف فقط إلا شيء اسمه الإسلام. فقال لي إن سألوك قل أنت سني، وهذا الإمام الذي يأم الصلاة لا تتحدث معه، اتركه. يبدو أن هذا الشخص الذي يقول له ذلك هو من غير الشيعة، ولا يحب أن يتعاطى الأخ الشيخ متين مع الشيعة وإمامهم. فيقول حفزني هذا على أن أفعل العكس، أن أذهب وأسأل الشيخ أو الإمام عفوا. فسألت الإمام، قلت له ما هي قضية شيعة وسنة؟ يقول أعطاني كتاب، قال اقرأ هذا الكتاب، ثم إن كان لديك أسئلة ارجع إلي واسألني. وكان الكتاب عنوانه ثم اهتديت، للسيد التيجاني السماوي حفظه الله.
So when I read that book, I was presented with English. Yeah. So when I read this book, it opened up a lot of things for me. And one of the first books I also read was about Abu Dhar. And Abu Dhar came from a background of his tribe was highway robbers and these type of things. And he got to the level where the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you wanted to see the zuhud of Isa, look at Abu Dhar, or no one more truthful under the sky than Abu Dhar. I said, a person can come from that background and achieve this level as a convert. It gave me a lot of hope. So I tried to model myself after Abu Dhar. Always stand for the truth and justice, and was very close to the Imam, and I try to follow in his way. So I used to, well, before this, the thing that really clicked with me to make me Shia was paraphrase a riwayat from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, that he said, some people, the outside, they say that they are guided and that we are misguided. But how can that be when Jibra'il came down in our house and the revelation started in our house and then went out to other people? So how can they be guided and somehow we are misguided? And it made very clear sense to me. And when you look at the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they have so many things. Look at Najul Balaga. Do we have something like this from anyone else they say is better than Amir al-Mu'mineen? No. Do we have any? We have Dua Kamil, Dua Abu Hamza, Thomali, all these things. Do we have any dua like this from anyone they said was better than Amir al-Mu'mineen? No. We don't have anything from them. So it was very clear who had the knowledge and who didn't have it.
Thank you so much, Sheikh Mateen. Sayyid Muntadha.
فطبعا وصل الكلام حيث انتهى سماحة الشيخ متين أنه قرأ هذا الكتاب وبدأ أيضا يتعرف على كتاب آخر تعرف فيه على شخصية أبو ذر الغفاري. وكان أبو ذر ملهما له، لأن أبو ذر الغفاري أو لأن أبي ذر الغفاري كان ينحدر من أسرة قطاع طرق، وبالتالي كان من بيئة يعني غير ملتزمة، فخرج من هذه البيئة وأصبح هو أبو ذر الذي يقول عنه النبي ما أقلت الخضراء إلى آخره، أصدق لهجة من أبي ذر. وأيضا أن من أراد أن ينظر إلى عيسى في زهده فلينظر إلى أبي ذر. فقال تأثرت بذلك كثيرا، لأنه إذا كان أبو ذر قد جاء من هذه البيئة اللي هم قطاع طرق وأصبح من الزهاد، من الذين هم يعني يشهد لهم النبي بالتقوى والزهد والصدق، فإذا بإمكاني أيضا أن أتحول وأصبح شخصا يعني من هذا القبيل. بعد ذلك بعد قضية القراءة عن أبي ذر بدأ أيضا يقرأ رواية عن الإمام الصادق أشار فيها الإمام إلى أن الآخر المخالف يتهم أهل البيت بأنهم ليسوا على هدى. وبعد ذلك يقول بدأت أقارن أن الدعاء أن الشيعة عندهم أشياء لا توجد عند غيرهم، يعني مثلا في القضايا الروحانية مثل دعاء كميل، مثل دعاء أبي حمزة الثمالي، عندهم مثل نصوص كنصوص نهج البلاغة، هذه لا توجد عند غيرهم. فهذا أيضا أوصلني إلى قناعة أن التشيع هو الحق. نعم.
So I spent most of my time reading books for these 9 years I had to do from 17 years old till I was 25. So I spent all my time just reading whatever I could get my hands on. So I read hundreds and hundreds of books throughout these years. So when I came home, I was really well read. I tried to be well-rounded in all the sciences. I said, okay, I need to be well-rounded in aqaid. Okay, akhlaq, rawayat Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, fiqh, tariq, the debates between each other, all of these things. I tried to see where my weak points were, and I would read more books on those things and try to strengthen myself. But I had never encountered any Shias before, just the ones in the prison. So they had never been anywhere either. You know, they were just in there. And then it came time, our community was very good. First of all, we would help each other. We would wake each other up for salat. We would eat together. We had like a very strong brotherhood, And then I had to come out into the world, and then I was thinking it was like that, But we always checked on each other. We always were there for each other. And then I found myself just kind of all alone, and I don't really fit in anywhere, For example, you guys come here, most of you all speak same language from the same place. Other places all Urdu, other places all Farsi, other places this or that. And I would just find myself wandering around trying to find my place. But alhamdulillah, I found a good place in month of Ramadan. This guy kept taking me around for different masajid. There's a Sunni guy when I moved to DC. I wanted to go there and start over because I didn't want to be around my old friends or whatever from before. So this guy took me all around DC, and he said, once we got to this one center, they said, Ashhadu anna aliyan wali Allah, and adhan. I was like, okay, tour is over. I'm good. You continue. I'm just going to stay here. Like, I found my people, and I'm done.
Thank you, Sheikh. Sayyid Muntadar. If it's not working, it's your problem.
نعم، بعد قد قضى فترة 9 سنوات تقريبا بعد هذه الرحلة، وفي هذه ال9 سنوات كان يقرأ بنهم كل ما وقع تحت يده من كتاب، ويقول قرأت الكثير وفي جميع الموضوعات الإسلامية، قرأت في التاريخ، في العقيدة، في القرآن إلى آخره، إلى أن أصبحت لدي يعني خزين جيد من المعلومات. وبعد ذلك أطلق سراحه يعني بعد 10 سنوات تقريبا من بداية رحلته، وقرر أن يذهب إلى DC إلى العاصمة ليبدأ بداية جديدة. لم يرد أن يرجع إلى نفس منطقته حذرا من أن يلتقي بأصحابه الأوائل. فيقول التقى بشخص فبدأ يأخذه إلى أكثر من مركز، وكان أغلبها مراكز من مراكز إخواننا من المدارس الإسلامية الأخرى، إلى أن وصل إلى مركز سمع فيه الأذان وسمع الشهادة الثالثة قول المؤذن أشهد أن عليا ولي الله. فحينها قال له يمكنك الآن أن تذهب، أنا وجدت المكان الذي أريد أن أبقى فيه. فحينها استقر في ذلك المكان. تفضلوا أبو محمد. نعم.
Okay, so there was a few organizations used to help us a lot, and they would send us books. For example, Khoe Foundation in New York. There was another Koja organization, Balao Muslim Mission. And sometimes even Iran would send books from Ansariyan. I have a very funny story about that, but they send us books and they would send them in a rice bag, you know, with Farsi all over it and all this. So I wrote them, and like I waited years, and like 2 years went by. I said, you know, they're never going to send the books. And like 9/11 happened, and then like after 9/11, you know, my books came. They called me to the front. And they said, oh, we have a package, but we're scared to open it. And we want you to be here when we open it. And I was like, what do you mean like a package? And they has got Farsi all over it. And they like opened it. It was like, oh, you know, like they're afraid is, you know, something's in there. And then they open it up. It's just my books. So, alhamdulillah.
Let me translate this. سأل العزيز أبو محمد الحمداني أنه من أين كانت تأتيكم الكتب، فأجاب الشيخ أنه كان هنالك 3 روافد أو قنوات تأتي منها الكتب. الرافد الأول هو مؤسسة السيد الخوئي رضوان الله تعالى عليه في نيويورك، كانوا يرسلون الكتيبات إلى السجن. وكذلك مؤسسة بلال فاونديشن، مؤسسات إخواننا الخوجة، مؤسسة بلال. وكذلك أنصاريان منشأها في إيران، فترسل كتب. ويقول من اللطيف أن الكتب كانت تأتي في الرز والكتابة على في مغلفة بالفارسي. يقول وفي مرة من المرات كتبت إليهم رسالة أطلب يعني بعض الكتب وما إلى ذلك، فلم يجيبوا إلا بعد 2 سنين. فبعد 2 سنين قال دعوني، اتصلوا بإدارة السجن وقالوا يوجد هنا عندك باكج باسمك، ولكن لا نريد أن نفتحه. كانوا متخوفين من أن يكون فيه شيء، ولم يكونوا يعلموا أن فيه كتب، وكان ذلك بعيد أحداث 11 سبتمبر، فلذلك كان هنالك تخوف، وخاصة الكتاب أو الباكج جاء من إيران. ففتح الإدارة فتحوا، وإذا بها الكتب التي طلبها جاءته من إيران. هنا فقط أود أن أعلق تعليق في الله كامل. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. إخواني، لو أن هذه الكتب لم تكن قد وصلت إلى السجن، كم شخص مثل سماحة الشيخ وغيره من الذين كانت لديهم القابلية أن يهتدوا، إلا أنهم مثلا لم يحصلوا على رافد يرفدهم بالكتب. فلا تقللوا أهمية إرسال الكتب إلى السجون، هاي القضية في غاية الأهمية. لذلك الشيخ سيتحدث بعد أن خرج، أسس مؤسسة اسمها second chance سيتحدث هو عنها، يعني فرصة أخرى. اسم الشركة المؤسسة فرصة أخرى، بمعنى أنك صحيح وقعت في مشكلة ودخلت إلى السجن، لكن يوجد أمامك فرصة أخرى في أن تصحح، فيبعثون لهم الكتيبات. فهذا مهم أن ندعم هكذا مشاريع، لأن هناك الكثير ممن لم يصل إليهم النور، فهذه الأمور قد احنا نستقلها، نقول ليس شنو يعني أبعث أنا كتب للسجن، شنو الفائدة، من يقرأ؟ لا، هذه النتيجة. هنالك من يقرأ ولو في 1000 واحد، وبعد ذلك يصبح شيخا وعالما دينيا ينفع الله به العباد والبلاد.
أحسن سيدنا. وأضيف إلى ذلك في السجون هواية أغلبية السجناء يقرون. ليش؟ لأن ما عندهم أي شيء ما عندهم، يعني عندهم وقت بس يردون شيء يلزمونه حتى يقضون به وقت. I was telling them that a lot of prisoners read because in prison they have nothing else to do. You have so much time, they just want to grab something to hold on to get them through time. And reading was one of the biggest things they do in prison.
So when I was home, I found this center in D.C., so I started going there. And I knew what happened on Ashura, but I didn't know about the majalis. I didn't know about Arba'in. And I found out about it, and I said, I got to go there. That was my number one mission. I was like, I'm going to Arba'in. No, I don't have any money, that much stuff, but I'm going to save some money. I'm going to go there. So the sheikh was from Iraq, and he said, just get the money for the ticket, and everything else is good for you. We have a house, we don't need anything. So every month I would call the sheikh and say, when are we going? Every time I was bothering him, I was chasing him down, when we're going to go. And he said, okay, it finally came time to go, and I went to Arba'in, and I was walking, this is like 2012 maybe, so I was walking, I saw everyone come together and give something. They save all year, they give a sugar, they give chai, they give Kleenex, they give anything that you want, they save and they give it. So I said, I'm just taking when I'm here. What do I have to give? I don't have any money, I don't have this or that. And I said, I knew where all these, I read a lot of books, so I knew where things were for Musiba and Ahlul Bayt, about Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salam in English. They're spread out in different places. So I said, let me gather these things together and then make a book about it, and then I can publish this book and then send it into the prisons. And I said, I'm going to make intention. I want to make a program like the ones that helped me, and then I would start sending books into prison. So I started with this intention from the Arba'in.
Thank you so much, Sheikh Mateen. Sayyid Muntadhar, if you want to translate.
نعم. فبعد أن تعرفت على أحد المشايخ وكان شيخا عراقيا في تلك المنطقة، وبدأت بعد أن تعرفت على ما يعرف بزيارة الأربعين والمجالس، كنت قد قرأت لكن لم أكن أفهمها، فعلمت أن هنالك زيارة ضخمة كبيرة تحصل في العراق، فقلت لابد أن أذهب إلى ذلك المكان. فطلبت من الشيخ قال عليك أن تجهز أو يكون عندك فقط تذكرة والباقي علينا، نحن نتكفل بسائر الأمور. أقول فبدأت أجمع المال حتى يكون عندي ما يكفي لتذكرة، وحصل السفر بالفعل وذهبت إلى العراق مع هذا الشيخ، وبدأت أرى كيف أن الناس تعطي بكرم، هذا الذي يعطي السكر وذاك يعطي الشاي، والناس تطبخ وتقدم. فقلت في نفسي أنا ليست لدي أموال أقدمها، فماذا أنا أقدم لهذه المجالس؟ فقررت أن أقوم بمشروع، وهو أن أجمع ما كتب من المصائب باللغة الإنجليزية، أجمعها في كتاب وأطبع هذا الكتاب وأبعثه إلى السجون، لأنه كما اهتديت أنا من خلال الكتب التي كانت تأتي، فأريد أن أقوم بنفس الفعل وأبعث هذا الكتاب إلى السجون لغرض هداية الآخرين. نعم. Go ahead.
So I also saw the Hausa there. I said, what is that? He said, people go here and they study for some years and they become scholars. And I said, I love to read. I love to study. And I want to be an author, so I want to be able to write better books. So I said I wanted to start studying. So when I came back I was in D.C. area. I have a lot of shuyukh there. So I said, I really want to study. So I was pushing them, And the sheikh said, okay, we'll start, but you have to come after Fajr in the morning and we start. Anybody know DC's big metropolitan area? I lived in Maryland side, and he was in Virginia side on the Beltway. So it takes at least 45 minutes, and I need to be there at Fajr. And Fajr was very early, so I need to leave my house at like 4 in the morning or something like that. I think he was trying to see, if I really wanted to do it. So I would show up every time after Fajr. But after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, Sheikh said, okay, we can change the time and we can make it 10 o'clock, Don't want to do it this early. So I started there with like many different scholars, to learn my lessons. And eventually, after some years, 3 years, 4 years, I finished my Muqaddamat and I took my Amama. So I wanted to write better books. But then the thing comes is in the West, it's not just you want to do something. Like in Iraq, they have just some people, some of my teachers, they only do dars. Other teachers, they only do this research. Other ones, they only do mimbar. They have only one thing they do. But when we come here, we have to do all of it. We have to do mimbar, janaza, nikah, counseling, everything. Say it no better than me. He does all sort of stuff, Anything anybody want, we got to do it. Because there's no other people here. So we had to do all of these things. So that's how I end up, I come and do mimbar. But my thing was always writing books, teaching class. This is my preferred thing, So alhamdulillah, till now I've been able to write over 20 more books,
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Sayyid Muntadhar, if you want to translate. Briefly, 2 sentences.
2 sentences. خير الكلام ما قل ودل. أحسنت. طبعا وصل هو إلى قضية الدراسة الحوزوية. يقول طلبت من المشايخ الذين كانوا في دي سي أن يعلموني، لأنه أنا عندما كنت في العراق تعرفت على هذا الصرح اللي يعرف بالحوزة، وسألت ما هذا، فقالوا هنا يتعلم الطلبة ويصبحون علماء إلى آخره. قل أنا أحببت أن أكون كاتبا ومؤلفا، لكن أحتاج إلى العلم حتى أكون كاتبا ونافعا. فبعد ذلك في دي سي تعرف على شيخ وطلب منه أن يدرسه المقدمات، فقال له أريد منك أن تحضر الفجر في كل يوم. والفجر كان مبكر جدا، فكان لابد أن يخرج من بيته بساعات مبكرة جدا، لأنه ازدحام منطقة دي سي معروف تقريبا 45 دقيقة حتى يصل. وتبين بعد 3 أسابيع أن الشيخ أراد أن يخبر أو يختبر صبره وجديته في الالتزام، فبعد 3 أسابيع قرروا أن يغيروا الوقت إلى وقت 10 أو وقت آخر. ثم بعد 2 أو 3 أو 4 أتم المقدمات وتشرف باعتمار العمامة. ثم بعد ذلك يتحدث عن أن الحوزة في العراق كانت فيها جهة التخصص، أن بعضهم مثلا يركز على المنبر، بعضهم يركز على التأليف، بعضهم يركز على الدرس. فهو أراد أن يشتمل على هذه الأمور، لأنه المبلغ في هذه البلاد لا يكتفى منه في أن يقوم بفعل واحد، لا بد أن يقوم بها كلها. So I think now we got to Karbala, right? Going back to the Hausa now? Yeah, okay.
So when I finished my studies, my Muqaddamat, took my Amama in America, I did those studies here. I took my Sheikh Ahmed Al-Ha'ari in Maryland. Many people know Sheikh. He gave me my Amama. Later on, I said, I want to go further than Muqaddamat. So I started going to Najaf and back and forth. My curriculum was same from Najaf, so I just working on the books, at my pace. So I would go to Najaf, stay for a few months, and then come back. My family is there, so I cannot leave too long. And I would continue online when I was in America. Then a couple months later, I would go back to Najaf, stay for a few months, and come back like this. So I was in Najaf for some time, and then Sayyid Muhammad Taqi al-Mudarrisi, he told me, what are you doing? Come over here with us. We want you here. What do you do? I said, Sayyid, I'm good. Najaf is good to me. I like it. I'm okay. He's like, no, just come. And I said, okay, Sayyid, I'll come. I took my Amama also from Barakat, from the hand of Marja. He also gave me my Amama as well. So I went and started studying Karbala, and then I still study all the way till today. I feel like if I'm missing a class, I'm missing out on life. I need to take class. Like every day, I'm taking class. We stopped in for a break in month of Ramadan because we have this month off, and then the war started. One of my main teachers lives in Qom, so the internet cut. And inshallah, after these days, internet open, I continue. And that's the thing I want to say is that never feel that you know enough. When you feel that you know enough, something is not right. Because no matter how much we learn, it's just a drop in the ocean of the knowledge from Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. You should always push yourself. Don't feel content with yourself. One alim told me that, a businessman, he is always looking at his phone. He's checking his bank account. He's nervous if his money and his investments are not moving, But he said, we should also think like that about our a'mal. What did we do, today that was better than yesterday? How can we move further? Like the riwayat from Imam Ali alayhi salam, he said the one whose 2 days are the same is loser, because you should always be moving forward. So never feel content where you're at, And even when we have Amama or whatever, it doesn't matter. Even Maraja, they are always reading and learning and doing other things.
Thank you so much, Ahsant, Sheikh Mateen. Said, I'm not going to give you the mic.
أحسنت. بعد الرحلة الدراسية في دي سي قرر أن يبدأ رحلته في النجف للمزيد من العلم، وبحكم أنه متزوج وصار عنده عائلة لا يستطيع أن يذهب طول السنة، فيذهب لمدة كم شهر يدرس هناك، ثم بعد ذلك يأتي يرجع إلى الولايات ويكمل دراسته في تلك السنة عبر الإنترنت. وهكذا استمر على هذه الحالة فترة من الزمن إلى أن التقى في كربلاء بالسيد المرجع المدرسي حفظه الله، وأصر عليه أن يأتي إلى كربلاء وأن يلتحق بالدرس في كربلاء. وبالفعل كان هذا الأمر، حيث ذهب إلى كربلاء وتشرف بأن يلبسه العمامة هو مرة أخرى من السيد محمد تقي المدرسي. وبعد ذلك يقول عاد إلى الولايات المتحدة، يعني بقى على هذه الحالة، يبقى 3 أشهر ثم يكمل. ويقول أنا إلى الآن أواصل الدروس. قبل الحرب كان يواصل درس مع أستاذه في قوم، وتوقفت بسبب توقف الإنترنت، والآن هو في يعني كما يقال فترة التبليغ، فترة محرم. بعد ذلك يرجع وينصح الأحبة جميعا في أنه لا يشعر الإنسان أنه اكتفى، دائما أطلب المزيد من العلم، لأن الإنسان كما يقول أمير المؤمنين إذا تساوى من تساوى يومه فهو مغبون، وبالتالي على الإنسان أن يبحث دائما عن المزيد وعن أن يطور نفسه.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. Yeah. Okay, so No, Arabic. Yeah, I took all my class in Arabic. Yeah, I did my Muqaddamat, all the books in Arabic too, because even if we had an English book that was translated, we didn't use it. We said we're going to stick with Arabic, because over the time it'll be better for you. It'll build you up. Yeah, yes. Religious things, If someone's talking about the news or something with a car or a mechanic, maybe not. But if it's religious talk, yes. So I started this program that I wanted to help give back to the prisoners, because I said, when you go study, you look at the Quranic ayah that, a group of you go and learn and then come back and help your people and study, teach them. So I said, who are my people? I said, all those people that I left in the prison, those are my people. That's my community. So I said, I need to help them out. They need a lot of help. So I went and I said, I'm going to make a program for them modeled after the programs that helped us, but I would try to make it better. So I started this program, Second Chance Books. We made a non-profit status in America. We started with maybe like 50 inmates, start sending books and stuff. And now, alhamdulillah, from the time I started that in 2014 till now, we have sent 40,000 books into the prison system all over the country. And about 4,500 people came to Sheyu through this project. Americans, you know. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
I'm going to take a little bit of your time to have Sayyid Muntadhar translate.
إن شاء الله. يقول الآية المباركة أنه الله تبارك وتعالى فلولا نفر من كل فرقة منهم طائفة ليتفقهوا في الدين وينذروا قومهم إذا رجعوا إليهم لعلهم يحذرون. قل سألت نفسي أنه أنا من هم قومي الذين أنذرهم. أنا صار عندي فكرة وعندي معلومة فأريد أن أبلغ من هم قومي، فعلمت أن قومي الذين يجب علي أن أنذرهم هم السجناء، هم هذول قومي، هم هذول جماعتي. فقررت أن أفتح هذا المشروع وهو مؤسسة الفرصة الثانية Second Chance، وبدأنا بإرسال الكتب. بدأنا من 2014 وإلى الآن مجموع الكتب التي أرسلت إلى السجون 40,000 كتاب أو 40,000 كتاب 40,000 أو 45 بوكس 40,000 كتاب. وعلى ضوء هذه الكتب استبصر وتشيع 4,500 نزيل في السجن. اللهم صل على محمد.
So until now, I'm still working on this project. We get letters from. Oh.
بعدين من يعني اثناء شو اسمه سؤال شخصي يعني مثلا اسمه متين بعد الاسلام بعد التسليم اسمه الاصلي ان الزواج قصه زواجه من مسلمه بعدين.
Yeah, so two personal questions. First question, why you got your name and as was your wife Muslim.
Okay.
فهم عليك هو.
فهمت alhamdulillah. Okay, in Islam well, in this prison environment normally we're leaving something traumatic life and we want to start something new, a good life. So we're shifting from one thing to the other. So most of the time we will take a name that will set us apart and like something that they hear that, okay, they know this guy is a Muslim. He's not with that life anymore. Maybe if someone named a regular name, they said, oh, he could be with different life. But when they hear names like, you know, names of Ahlul Bayt or names of Allah, they say, okay, this guy is a Muslim. So he's different. So I looked at the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and I said, you know, this name Mateen stood out to me because it meant, you know, very strong, unshakable, that people would try to pull me. I knew gang members would try to take me back to the gang. Other people would try to pull me to Christianity, you know. I had the gang members, you know, come to me and they said, oh, we're going to make you we know you from your youth. We're going to make you the leader of the gang in the prison. I said, I don't want that, you know. I'm Muslim. I don't want that anymore, you know. And some people had a way about it. They said, you know, they felt some sort of way like I had to do that. And I said, look, it's not going to go like that. If you want to, we're going to do whatever you want to do. We can fight or whatever, but I'm not going back to that. And this is it. And the older brothers told them, you know, you don't know him like that, but just leave him alone. He's good. Just leave him on his way. And I said, you know, I don't care. I want to be Muslim no matter what. So that was my taking the name Mateen.
Thank you.
يقول بالنسبة للاسم أردت اسما يمكن أن ألجأ إليه كمصدر قوة بالنسبة لي، فاخترت اسما من أسماء الله تبارك وتعالى وهو المتين، فسميت نفسي بهذا الاسم متين، حتى كلما ضعفت إرادتي أو حاول البعض أن يخرجني عن درب الهدى الذي أنا عليه أتذكر هذا الاسم وأستمد منه القوة. لأنه يقول مجموعة من السجناء ممن يعرفونني أيام العصابات حاولوا قدر الإمكان إرجاعي، قالوا نريد أن نجعلك رئيسا للعصابة هنا في السجن، وقلت لهم أنا أصبحت مسلما ولا أريد الرجوع إلى حالة العصابات وما إلى ذلك، فلذلك اختار هذا الاسم، اسم المتين. شيخنا, you want to tell them what you discovered about Mateen later on? Go ahead.
So I was in Richmond, Virginia in the Majlis. The students from Hijaz, they had like a center. And I was in the line for the food after Majlis. We had to go through a line. It was like a house, you know, like a big long hall. So the guy said, you know, what's your name? I said, Mateen. He said, no, I'm Mateen. I said, no, I'm Mateen. He said, no, I'm Mateen. And he goes like this, you know, he was a big guy. And I said, what's going on? He said, oh, in my dialect, it means fat, you know? And I was like, oh, no, it's from the name of Allah. So I said, oh, now I'm trying to get the literal meaning and the other meaning, you know?
يقول في فيرجينيا دعيت إلى مجلس للإخوة الحجازيين إخواننا الأعزاء من الشرقية، وفي ذلك المجلس وقفنا لأخذ الطعام، فسألني أحدهم قال ما اسمك؟ قلت متين. قال لا أنت لست متين، أنا متين. ففهم بعد ذلك أن متين تستخدم في العامي للمتانة للسمين يعني، فعلم أن هنالك معنى آخر لاسمه، ليس فقط متين اسم من أسماء الله، وإنما المتانة أيضا يقال له متين. نعم.
And also, just before, brother,
Okay.
brother asked, your wife, Muslim, not Muslim?
My wife is Shia, but she is from Panama, near Colombia, in Central America. But she was Christian when I met her. So I discussed with her different thing about Christianity and about Islam. And over some time, you know, she accepted the things about Islam, about Ahlul Bayt, and she said, I want to become a Muslim. I said, okay. And then after this, I said, I want to talk to your father. I go to Panama and talk with her parents. They agreed, you know, that I could marry his daughter. And then we got married after that. And alhamdulillah, I've been married for 16 years now, alhamdulillah.
Go ahead, brother.
Sheikh, have you tried to guide your previous friends, or like you went completely away from them?
Well, when I was in the prison, I ran into everybody. It was like a big reunion of all my people I went to school with and everybody from the neighborhood and all that. So a lot of the people, they did become Muslims, some of my friends, while we were there. And then also, when I moved back towards D.C., my mother lived in Delaware, so I went there. And my friend I grew up with had also went to jail for something, and then he came home. But we were really close before, and we used to, I was put out of my house when I was younger. They didn't want me to stay, so I went and stayed with his family for a little while. So when I got around him, he ended up also coming to become Shia, and he took his shahada with Sheikh Abdul Jalil in Maryland. And so, yeah, so when I try to be around some people if they were doing good, you know, but I don't want to be in the same environment because you never know what people are into, you know. People could be into all sort of stuff, and when you come visit, you don't know. You get yourself caught up in something. So I try to be safe, you know. You're welcome.
Thank you, brother. If anybody has any questions.
Sisters, let's give sisters some part first. Well, I'll come back.
What?
Yeah, give the brother and then we'll come to sisters.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
So, as you mentioned earlier, that one of the reasons helped you to find the path of Islam and Madrasat Ahlul Bayt as well is one of the books that you went through of Sayyid Tijani.
Yes.
And it's very well known to all of us that Sayyid Tijani's books helped a lot of people to find the Ahlul Bayt's way. So, let me ask the question a different way. Have you tried to put your own experience in a book and just share it with the people that might help a lot? Like just say the Tijani's book. Thank you.
Yeah, every time I go to they have like programs in the Maktab in Karbala, a lot of youth are there, and they always tell me the same thing. They say, you should write your book, you should write your story and make it like this one and that, it'll help a lot. But I have to have some time, you know. I need to sit and also have to relive a lot of things that I've kind of pushed to the side, you know. There's a lot of traumatic experiences in growing up, and I have to sit and deal with those emotions head on and write it. It's very heavy. So sometimes I don't want to deal with it. I can talk about it sometimes, but to sit and, you know, detail and write things, sometimes it's hard. I want to, but inshallah, nasalukum da'a. Inshallah, I do it in future.
Inshallah. Any sisters with questions?
Well, when I'm in Turkey, I look like them, so they think I'm Turkish. You know, I don't know. When I go to Iraq, they think I'm Iranian, and then when I go to Iranian, they say you're Lebanese. So like, I don't know. I just fit in everywhere. Yeah. I just, yeah, yeah. I just take whatever.
شيخ يقول اروح الايران حسبالهم لبناني، اروح للعراق حسبالهم ايراني، اروح التركيا حسبالهم تركي، فقل له طماطه ترى معي كل شيء.
No, I'm just gonna tell them about maybe like the website if they want to look into the program, what we're doing, and this thing.
Sheikh, if you would like to conclude and just if there's a website for Second Chance, and if anybody would like more info.
قبل السكند تشانس بيكون الحج العزيز ونائل عنده سؤال.
حجينا هنا.
سؤالي يعني أول شيء بالبداية أريد أرجع يعني والديك كانوا يعني نفس إسلام لو ماكو عنده نفس
أهله
هم كانوا يعني بعد ما استبصر عرفتم إنهم مسلمين أو غير مسلمين.
Did they change?
After you became a Muslim, what is the status of your parents?
You know, I debate with them sometime. I don't want to, but they ask me, you know, in the beginning it was very difficult. They were like opposed to it because they just see what they see on the TV and the news, and they would try to debate with me and argue with me, but it didn't turn out well for them, you know. I do it in a respectable way, but
حاولت معهم كثيرا لكن يرفضون الفكرة، خاصة أن الإسلام صحيح.
فالحمد لله والشكر الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام.
نعم.
بس سؤالي إليك ما هو طعم الإسلام في نفسه؟ لأن إحنا بالنسبة لنا كمسلمين وبالذات كشيعة ولدنا إنه إحنا انولدنا
صح.
كمسلمين
صح.
كشيعة ما نعرف الطعم الحقيقي. إحنا هسه يعني
صح.
أغلبنا لما تسأل شنو طعم الإسلام؟
باعتبار ولد في هذا الدين، يعني ولدنا we were born in Islam and Shia Islam. So how does it taste to the feeling of being a Muslim after being a non-Muslim? Because he says we don't recognize or we don't really feel that beauty of Islam since we take it for granted, we were born in it.
what I found is like whatever the world is searching for, you can find it in the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Everything is there in Quran and riwayat, anything you want. We have rules for all sort of stuff, ahkam for every sort of situation. We have hadith for every sort of situation. There's no place in your life you could find yourself misguided if you know the teachings. It's just on us. But the problem is we have thousands of books at our fingertips, but we don't really read. We don't pick them up. We can even get them on the tablet or on the phone or something, but we're looking at other useless things most of the time, you know. We can have entertainment, but also we need to make the time. We need to have a balance for, you know, books, reading about Islam, and also whatever else we're going to do.
So جوابا على سؤالكم حجين الغالي، فهمتوا؟ نعم احسنتم. عندك ايه تفضل الحج.
هو يعني بالنسبه له صار في بحر متلاطم الامواج. هل يحكي لنا نبذه ما بين الابناء العامه، افكار ابناء العامه والافكار اللي اجته من بعد ما انت الشيعه، خلي ابنائنا يعرفون التباين بين هذا الطرفين.
Can you briefly just mention like the difference that you saw between, let's say, Sunni Islam as you were learning about Islam and as opposed to the what you saw in Shia Islam? Just kind of like to show the value and the merit of Shia Islam as compared to the other version of Islam.
Well, wherever I went, I saw that the Shia stood out because they knew more things than other people. They seemed more knowledgeable, so they had a better grasp of the religion compared to Sunnis. And I also read Sunni books too because I wanted to see what they said. So I read Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Abu Dawood, all these type of books. I read a lot of them. I read their Ahkam books too a long time ago. I wanted to see what they had to say. But I really didn't see that much substance in these type of narrations, you know. It was very simple things of, for example, my sandal comes untied, you know, you should do this, or you should say this thing 3 times and go this way and that. You know, it wasn't like a lot of, I was like, what am I going to do with this, you know? I need to change my life. I need to fix myself. Like what I was reading, I didn't really see that much benefit compared to when I read the books. If you read Mishkat al-Anwar or Tuhaf al-Uqul or Kitab al-Arshad or all of these type of books, you see a total difference than if you were to read, for example, one of these books, one of the Sahih Sitta.
بس حجينا بس
كيف يعني شنو الشاذ بالصحاح؟ التضارب ما بين الصحاح الأربعة يعني شنو اللي
This question is, what did you see contradictions
القرآن مع
in
الصحاح؟
the 4 Sahih of the Sunni books? What contradictions that allowed you to say, question the books?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things is,
إن كان قارئ الصحاح لا يجاوب، وإذا ما قارئين يعني بصورة كاملة يعتذر عن الإجابة.
well, like I said, I read most of these books from the beginning, like Muraja'at and Peshawar Nights and these things. So it would show you from the Sunni sources, like the how Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam were madlum. And when I saw that, there was no way that I could go towards anyone that would abuse and mistreat the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. That alone, I couldn't accept anyone who wants to do that, you know. So I didn't ever go towards that side, you know.
Ahsant.
Don't reading any book from the Sahih.
No, I read, yeah.
Questions from the sisters, please. If anybody has a question, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullah.
I have 2 questions. One of them is, what main challenges did you face?
What
main-
challenges did you face?
Okay.
That's one of them, right? Let's answer.
And the
Question?
the second question is, at any point did you regret taking your shahada because of the challenges in Islam?
At any point, did you regret taking your shahada because of the challenges in Islam?
Okay.
So let's go to first
Where
question.
you get
First.
that southern accent from all of a sudden?
You got a lot of accents.
Yeah, okay.
He's also tomato.
Yeah. So the challenge is that I talked some about the other night, is this life is very lonely, you know. You have to be so strong in your faith that if you were the only Shia in your town, is okay. You would still be Shia. You know, when Prophet told Ammar ibn Yasser that if Ali goes in this valley and all the mankind goes in the other one, you go with Ali. And that's how we have to be. It doesn't matter if we're alone. Like Imam Sajjad alayhi salam said, he would never feel lonely as long as he had the Quran. You know, we have to feel that no matter if the whole world turned against us, it doesn't matter. We stay on the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. So there's many challenges. Family will turn against you. Friends will turn against you. I've met many people. This sister wrote us one time and said, you know, her family put her out in the street when she became Muslim, and she had a baby and had to sleep in the car. You know, imagine that. I just went to Sweden for Eid al-Ghadir. A guy told me his whole family said, "You're not part of our family anymore." I said, "Don't worry about it. You see all these brothers here? This is your family. You know, we're here for you. We got to support these people." So the challenge is being lonely. Not everybody can do it, but I was okay. I was locked up for a long time. When COVID came and everyone had to sit in their house all alone, I said I was built for this moment. You know, I was preparing for this my whole life. Everyone is worried. You got Netflix and Wi-Fi. Try being in that small room all by yourself, you know. I'm okay with being alone. So it doesn't bother me. But some people, they do have problems with that. But no, I never regretted taking my Shahada because I saw so many things from reading all these books that I saw too much stuff to see any other way as being right. Because I've seen too many things, It's for someone else to come tell me that Ahlul Bayt are wrong or something. It's never.
أحسن. That's why we always say اللهم ثبت قلبي على دينك. أحسن شيخنا. Said, you have a question?
Sheikh, I'm going to repeat this question, what I asked yesterday, for the benefit of the community. The night of Hazrat Abbas is coming very soon, and I would like you to give us a story about your son and do a prayer at Hazrat Abbas Zari in Karbala, and how that your prayer was answered. And the second question is, you're doing a good job as far as writing books and supporting and all that, and you always need support for that from the community. What can the community do to help you to make sure that you succeed what you're doing?
Thank you, Said. بس الرجاء بس الهدوء 5 دقائق إن شاء الله ونخلص. Please, I just need a little bit of silence. Inshallah, within 5-6 minutes, we will end this program. Just let's hear the Sheikh. Thank you so much.
Okay. So with the program, we're not funded by some big organizations and all of these things, We have over 4,000 people writing us all the time, asking for books. They're telling us, if we wrote all these different organizations, no one answered us. If you don't send it to us, who's going to give us knowledge of Ahlul Bayt? So we get money from here and there. Someone sends $20, someone sends 10, someone sends 100, and on the monthly basis, sometimes people sign up for the subscription, and this helps us know what money is coming. But many times we'll do a podcast or a video or something, and the money comes, and then next month we're in the same situation because these 4,000 people are writing every month for books. And we only get a little bit of money, we can only do a little bit with it. Whatever we have, we just do what we can. That means there's a big backlog of people that are waiting for their books. And, they're just continue writing. When are you going to send it? When are you going to send it? We need a sajada. We need a turba. We need a book. We want another book. I read the book you sent me, and then it's finished. Send me another one. They're very hungry. But the program needs funding, that's the thing. And it comes just from people out. If you think about it, a book costs $4 to print, let's say, and then postages went up, so now it's $6 to send. So $10 can send a book about Ahlul Bayt to someone, maybe change their life, maybe come out and be mu'ammam eventually. Who knows? Like what I did, It could start their journey on something. Many people want to sadaqah jariyah. This is it. It goes to their family members or things like that.
Do you have a link where brothers and sisters and anybody who would like to donate go on a website or a link anywhere?
Yeah, we have okay.
Adam,
yeah, I'll send to you and then you share. Okay. Okay. So I have a son now. He's 13 years old. So first we had difficulty even having kids. So it was some years. My father-in-law always asking me, where's the kids? Where's the kids? I was like, I don't know. You're asking wrong one. Ask Allah. It's not me. So my wife is very stressed. She's from Latino family. They like to have big families, like to have kids. Same like Arabs, So I said, you know what, this Erba'in, the first one I went to, I heard a lot of stories that people get their hajat answered. So I told my wife, look, I'm going to go to Iraq. She's a little bit worried, but I was like, this time Daesh was there and all that. I said, don't worry, I'm going to go to Iraq. I'm going to do this Erba'in walk. I'm going to make one intention that if I make another, that if I have a son, I name him Ali. So I started that walk to Mashaya. I came back sometime after that, and 15th of Sha'ban came. Around that time, we found out we have a son coming, my wife is pregnant. So I was, alhamdulillah. So I'm going to name him Ali. My father-in-law, he found out we were going to name him Ali. So I don't even want to see that baby. I don't even want nothing to do with him because his name is going to be a Muslim name, told my wife, she's like, we got to change, we can change the name, we can do that. I said, no, never. I said, I made another, I'm going to name him Ali. Don't worry about it. You know, it's gonna be okay. And subhanAllah, my son looked just like him, like his grandfather. And when he saw that baby, he took him all over in Panama. This is my son Ali, 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 like that, you know, like. And then it was like, okay, but we have to be tested and we have to be patient. So this is the first part of that story.
Okay, let's have the Sayyid translate. Yeah, let's have the Sayyid translate, and then we'll translate the second part. يلا سيد.
طبعا هو يتحدث عن كرامة حصلت من كرامات أهل البيت عليهم السلام، أنه هو بعد أن تزوج لم يكن قد رزق بطفل، ومرت فترة وأصبح الإلحاح من قبل أهل زوجته أنه لماذا ليس لديك ولد أو ليس لديك طفل، فقرر أن يزور في زيارة الأربعين ونذر أنه إن رزقت ولدا أسميه عليا. وبالفعل في 15 من شعبان علم أنه امرأته كانت يعني حامل وكان فيها يعني ولد، وبعد ذلك جاء الولد، لكن والد زوجته يعني كما يقولون العم كان معترضا على التسمية، قال لا أريد أن أرى هذا الطفل إن كان اسمه عليا. فبعد أن رأى أنه يشبه الطفل يشبه جده فأحبه، أصبح يعني يأخذه في كل مكان في بنما ويقول هذا حفيدي علي ويفتخر به إلى آخره. هذه القضية الأولى. القضية الثانية أيضا شيخنا في قضية الكرامة إن شاء الله.
So my son was about like 3 or 4 at this time, so he's not talking. So my wife starts to notice something's not right, you know. I'm like, maybe he doesn't have anything to say. You know, the guys, you know, that's the way we are, you know. But my wife is like, no, he should be saying some stuff by now. And so we've got him, took him to the doctor. They said, okay, he has autism. He cannot, maybe he's nonverbal. He can't speak, you know. So I'm stressed out. I don't even really know what this stuff is. So I start looking it up. I'm researching. That's what I do. So I research all about it. And I said, you know what, this is bigger than me. I don't know what I can do, but I'm going to go to the ones I know that can fix this thing, and I'm going to go to Karbala. I went to Abu Fadl Abbas, and I said, you know, you are Bab al-Hawaj. Don't close the door on me. I come on Mimbar all the time. I tell everyone you have hajat, go to Abu Fadl Abbas. I said, how can I tell people, you know, to go to you if you close the door on me? I was very heartbroken, you know. I said, if you don't fix this for me, this is all I want. Just let him be able to talk and be able to understand, you know, and be able to express himself. I said, if you don't help me, I was very desperate and like heartbroken this time. I said, I'll go to Najaf, I'll complain to Amir al-Mu'mineen, you know. And I said, I'm leaving it with you. You can fix it. I can't do anything. And I left it. I said, I make another. If you fix this for me, I'll bring him back to Karbala and I'll take him to your ziyarat. So I went back to America, to Virginia. I said, okay, you know, just wait. 3 months later or 2-3 months, they tested him, you know, again. The first test before we left, he was about 4 years old. His intellect was 10-month-old. We tested 3 months after I came back after this ziyarat, and they said he is 5 at the time, but his intellect now is 7 and 8 on all the sciences. He scored past that. And now he is speaking English, Turkish fluently, learned Quran, learned 40 ahadith by memory. He's speaking some Spanish. So they said maybe he didn't speak anything. And now he's speaking 4 languages, you know.
أحسنت اللهم صل على بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نعم ولده علي right?
Ali, yeah.
ولده علي وصل إلى الثالثة من عمره ولم يتحدث بعد، لا ينطق. فكانت أمه تشتكي أنه هذا الولد لا ينطق، فقال لها ربما ليس لديه كلام يقوله، لكن قالت لابد أن نعرضه على الطبيب. عرضوه على الطبيب وتبين أن لديه توحد، وأجروا امتحان قبل ذهابه في قضية الدعاء والنذر، وتبين أنه عقله عقل الشخص يعني القدرة الذهنية في عقله أو في مخه قدرة لشخص عمره 10 أشهر. يعني عقل هو عمره 3-4 سنوات، لكن المخ مخ أبو 10 أشهر، فلذلك عنده هذا أزمة التوحد ولا يستطيع أن يتعلم إلى آخره وينطق. يقول ذهبت إلى أبي الفضل العباس عليه السلام وخاطبته بحرقة، قلت أنا على المنبر أقول أنت باب الحوائج، فكيف سأخبر الناس أنت باب الحوائج ولدي هذه الحاجة إن لم تقضها؟ فأنا أعتمد يعني على توسلي بك، وإن لم تفعل يقول قلتها بحرقة سأذهب إلى النجف وأشكوك إلى علي عليه السلام. المهم قل فرجعت، وبعد فترة من الزمن 1 month or couple months after he did the second test أشهر قام الإجراء أو الاختبار الثاني، وفي الاختبار الثاني اكتشفوا أن القدرة العقلية له الآن أصبحت قدرة شخص ذو 7 سنوات وقادر على أن يتعلم، وبالتالي يقول تعلم اللغات، أتقن التركية والإسبانية والإنجليزية وحفظ 40 حديثا، وأيضا تعلم القرآن الكريم، كله إن شاء الله ببركات أبو الفضل العباس لذكره الصلوات.
Thank you for sitting and taking time, listen to this, and be patient with me. So, okay, I don't want to keep all of you holding, but
No.
okay.
It's I don't know what these tonight. It should be a quick one. In this community where we are, we don't really interact with Sunnis too much. Back home we did, especially in Iraq, there is a lot. Here we don't. And so from your experience, what was the biggest obstacle to talk to Sunnis, especially now that the Wahhabism is getting very, very strong? And then what is, in your opinion, the easiest way to approach them, to talk to them?
I treat them like I treat everybody else, you know. I would just be nice to them and talk with them as I would if my neighbor was a Hindu or a Christian or something, you know. I just talk with them, just generally stuff. But I did have some friends that I worked with that were from Sudan when I was in D.C., and they were Sunni, but they, you know, don't practice too much. Just they go to Jumu'ah and, you know, a few other things. And one of them was from Eritrea. He came and stayed at my house for 2 weeks, and he was my first friend I had in D.C., and he trained me in my job, and we used to hang out all the time. Very good brother. He came back from Africa, and he didn't have a place to stay for a little while, so I said, stay in my house for about 2 weeks or so, as long as you want. He stayed 2 weeks, and one day we're talking. He said, Mateen, what is this thing? He's like, I know you're Shia, but it's different, you know, it's a little different than us, and, you know, things like that. And I said, yeah, well, you know, I'll tell you about it, but don't get mad at me, you know. I'm not going to say anything to disrespect you, but I'll tell you why. And I told him about, you know, the Fatimiyya and the event with the door and these things. And I just told him, I said, look, I believe these people hurt the daughter of Rasulullah, and I can never accept someone who would hurt the daughter of Rasulullah. And we have our proofs, and we have our books, and this and that. And I said, don't get upset. This is from us, and we say they did that, but you know, that's how we feel. So he said, he just got quiet, and he looked at me, and he said, you know what? If they did that, they're going to Jahannam. And then he said, if they didn't do it, I don't want to say anything bad about them. And my ancestors, all of them, said that they were good people, so I don't know, and I don't want to just deal with it, so I'm just going to stay out of it, you know? So, but at least he knows. So I told him, so sometime you can tell them we shouldn't hide from our beliefs, you know, but we should use wisdom in saying it, you know? Like we could say, look, I'll explain to you, but don't get upset. But this is what we find in our books, and this is why we do this. We don't follow that because we love Rasulullah so much. We would hate to like cling ourselves to someone who hurt him or hurt his family and these things. And if we feel and we read that these people hurt his family, we don't want to follow them, you know. We don't have anything to do with them. And maybe you guys didn't get that information, and I can share it with you, but, that's it. But the common things are there: belief in Allah, belief in Prophet, and Akhirah, and these things. We stick to these things, we get okay. But if we start to get into those other things, we just need to do it with, Allah says to do it with, the best way. Ahsan.
Ahsan Sheikhna. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to accept all our prayers, to solve our problems. وأن ينصر الإسلام وشيعة أمير المؤمنين all over the world. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you here and getting to know you more. And I also would like to thank Sayyid Muntadhar.
I got one question.
You got one question?
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Was Sayyid's story better than mine? I think maybe he made it better.
Is it terrible?
He made it better. Yeah, you made my story better.
Okay. I mean, I tried to translate it as best I can. Allah bless you, inshallah.
Can I be a judge? It was terrible. I'll be honest. It's terrible. Terrible. The only good part was the tomato part. Thank you so much. جزاكم الله خير الجزاء. إلى أماتكم وأمات شيعة أمير المؤمنين والحاضرين والباذلين وإلى من فقدناهم في هذه الغربة. رحم الله من يقرأ سورة الفاتحة مسبوقة بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.